Your reaction to this 4th of July election?
Well, my reaction is initially I was quite surprised. But when I think about it overall, maybe not, because I think what Rishi Sunak realises that his Rwanda policy is not going to work, and we're going to get even more illegal immigrants coming over in the better weather in the summer. Or so we hope it's going to be better weather. And so I think it's just going to be, it would have just got even worse for him. And I think that that's the main reason why he's called it early, because he just realises that his policies are failing, as they failed on virtually everything that they've put forward. And so, I'm ready, bring it on. And that's really where I'm standing.
But what are you hoping for in terms of outcome here, Mark? Because, the reality seems to be, and tell me if you disagree, but as Rishi Sunak himself said yesterday, come July the 5th, either he will be in number 10 or Keir Starmer will be in number 10. It seems very unlikely that a Reform candidate will be in number 10.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think I'm not a fool to sort of believe that we're going to sweep to victory in the overall general election. However, particularly locally here in Sutton Coldfield, we're campaigning. We've already started our campaign. We've been leafleting. We've recently dropped 40,000 leaflets out. We're campaigning because basically we want our country back, and I want our town back, because we've had 20 odd years of mismanagement of the economy, mismanagement of literally everything by both Labour and the Conservatives, and they simply just don't stand for the silent majority. And so therefore, what I'm expecting is that we will put on a very good performance here in Sutton Coldfield. We're campaigning now on local issues around our town centre, which has seen the biggest level of decline, I think, of any town centre in the country over the last 20 years, under the watch of our Conservative MP, Andrew Mitchell, and also the Labour bankrupted council. So, we're expecting to put in a very, very good performance. And I think it's important to remember, our goal has always been to punish the Tories for the appalling performance that they've put in, particularly over the last 4 years. That's always been what we've said that we will do. And then if Labour do get in, which is widely anticipated, they will make a mess of it like they make a mess of everything. As I said, Birmingham City Council is a good example. And then we will then make a strong pitch for potential government running in 2029 or 2028. So, I'm not naive enough to believe that Richard Tice will be turning up at Downing Street on July the 5th. However, we stand for the silent majority, and the level of disruption and the level of incompetence shown by this government over particularly the last 4 years, but overall the decline in Britain has been over the last 20 years, starting with Tony Blair and then the succession of Conservative prime ministers. So we will put in a good performance. We're ready. Interesting that you mentioned, but as far as I'm aware, the Labour candidate in Sutton Coldfield hasn't even been selected yet. So I'm not sure they're ready, as Keir Starmer was given the impression on your clip.
No, but they've selected most of their candidates across the country, not all. But in effect, and with the greatest of respect, Mark, what you are saying is what Rishi Sunak said, that actually if people vote for you, they can vote for Reform UK across the country, but if they do so, they've got to expect Keir Starmer in number 10 as a result. That's in effect what you're saying.
To which I would reply, what's the difference? So both Labour and the Conservatives stand for high tax, high immigration. They're just two examples of the things that both Labour and the Conservatives stand for. The highest level of taxation in 70 years. Labour will put up taxes. So what we would say is there really isn't any difference between these two parties. The different party, and the party that will campaign for change, is Reform UK. The thing is, when you look back in history, you would think to yourself, if you'd have said 30 years ago, people, the things that are going on in this country now, they would have called you insane. 130,000 illegal immigrants crossing the English Channel. and nobody does anything about it. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll put them up in 4-star hotels, all at the expense of the British taxpayer. If you look at the woke infiltration in schools and our public services, people would have thought you were crazy. If you said that you were going to be teaching children trans ideology 30 years ago, people would have thought that you were crazy. And, you know, the picture that really frustrates me more than anything, and just is a kind of symbol to how bad this country has become under both Labour and the Conservatives, is our greatest living Briton, Winston Churchill's statue, having to be boarded up in central London through fears of a mob. And don't forget, Keir Starmer took the knee to the mob. So I think it's very, very important to realise how bad this country has become. And if you want change, or if you want more of the same, vote for the Conservatives or Labour. If you want change, vote for Reform UK. And if you want to change to Sutton Coldfield, vote for me in Sutton Coldfield.
Mark, we are running out of time, but I need to ask you about Nigel Farage, who is thinking overnight about a political comeback. Would you like to see him stand as a candidate for Reform UK? Do you think Richard Tice would make way for him if he wanted to become leader?
Well, I can't speak for Richard. I don't know whether he would make way for him. But personally, I'd love to see Nigel back in the front line. I think he's got a lot to offer. He's probably one of the most influential politicians of the 21st century so far, with what's been achieved in European elections, you know, the vote for Brexit, etc., etc. So I really hope that Nigel does stand up, and who knows, maybe at the 11 o'clock press conference, which is being streamed by Reform UK, which I ask everybody to watch, maybe there will be an announcement of that. But as regards from Richard's point of view, I can't really speak on, on his behalf. Would he stand aside, as you probably understand?